Good afternoon. My name is Harledt Robledo Betancourt, and I am going to talk about a very interesting subject in my master's degree. This is called individual factors in the learner's development. Individual factors in the learner's development. We may ask ourselves, what are these individual factors? Well, we can say they are the major areas in which language learners differ when they acquire a second language and the factors that may affect their learning. The subject itself divided in 3 chapters. First chapter, cognitive influences on language learning. Second chapter, affective influences on language learning. Third chapter, physical and psychological factors influencing language learning. Let's start with the first chapter, cognitive influences on language learning. These cognitive factors refer to mental conditions, strategies, or processes which the learner has while learning a language. Now, what are these cognitive factors? Well, we can have 4 of them: intelligence, language aptitude, cognitive styles, learning strategies. And what do we understand for the intelligence? This may influence the acquisition of some skills associated with second language acquisition of a second language. Language aptitude is the natural ability we have to learn languages, and people possess it to varying degrees. It is an unmodified variable in second language achievement. Cognitive styles are characteristics, self-consistent mode of functioning which individuals show in their perceptual and intellectual abilities. It is also considered as a combination of affect and cognition. There's a connection between our approach to learning and learning success. Now, learning strategies. They are the steps taken by the learner to aid the acquisition of information, storage, and retrieval of information. They are the particular approaches of or techniques learners employ to try to learn a second language. This can be divided into direct and indirect. Cognitive styles are also divided into visual, kinesthetic, tactile, and auditory. Visual style is the one with this students learn by seeing images. Kinesthetic is when learners or students learn by movements and experiments on the language. Tactile is the style where learners learn by touching objects in class. Auditory is the one where students learn by hearing audios or just by listening to the teacher. Affective influences on language learning. That is the second chapter. This refers to the effects of the emotions and feelings on the learner in the task of second language learning. Motivation has been the subject of extensive research, explaining that when motivation exists, learning is guaranteed. Let's talk about the types of motivation. We have studied 5: extrinsic, intrinsic, integrative, instrumental, and resultative. Extrinsic motivation is derived from external sources. The students are motivated to do the activities in order to gain the external reward in return. Intrinsic motivation comes from internal sources. It is associated with cognitive drive to satisfy one's interests. Integrative motivation reflects a sincere and personal interest that is internally rewarding. Integrative means mixing, joining, and becoming part of. Instrumental refers to practical considerations. A learner to be instrumentally motivated when learning a second language for practical purposes. Resultative motivation is successful learning results in motivation to continue learning. Learners do well, persevere. Those who do not will try less hard. And last but not least is the third chapter, physical and psychological factors influencing learning in the language. Effects of age and personality of a student when learning a second language. We may understand that physical and psychological factors show two main ones, age and personality. Age is when we try to explain that the students learn in different ways depending on the age they are. For example, children might learn better pronunciation. Teenagers reinforce language, while adults may have a formal learning because maybe they need it or because they wanted to learn. As for personality, researchers believe this influences the success in language learning. Personality factors may divide as A, extroversion and introversion, B, risk-taking and inhibition, C, anxiety, D, tolerance of ambiguity, and other. By extroversion and introversion, this one measures the communicative ability to learn a language. Extroverted students may be more social than introverted ones, as they are shy when learning. Risk-taking or inhibition. This is understood as the risk students take when practicing the language. Anxiety. It may be the fear of making mistakes in front of others. And this happens when students are learning in classes and they are really, really afraid of making mistakes. Tolerance of ambiguity is the ability to face new stimuli, the ability to persevere different situations. And by other, we understand that is the flexibility and openness to new language. That is the acceptance of language rules itself. And to end up with this assignment that I really, really enjoy taking and reading and practicing, I may finish with this quote from Hassan Marbouf and the Cruz, that it says, positive self-concept, high self-esteem, positive attitude, clear understanding of the goals for language, continuous active participation in the language learning process, the relevance of conducive environment that could contribute to success of language learning. As we understand, when a student and the teacher have an effective environment of teaching and learning environment, this can be really, really successful. Thank you.